Capitalism is bad. I don't like it.
Yeah, really easy for someone to say that grew up in a really nice house in one of the best school districts in Texas.
I know, but it's...
Who has the rent paid for, that is able to go to Europe and on a whim with their sister, who's able to do girl math, who's able to be fun employed. It's only the people who speak like you that grew up in a world where you've never had to do a single thing in your life.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. Look, I think being young comes with, naturally, it's not a smart thing to say. It's not an educated thing. When you're young, you don't have a lot of life experience. You also are pretty idealistic and emotionally driven. There's very few data-driven youths out there who are, that's why they say, hey, if you're young and you don't vote liberal, you don't have a heart, and if you're old and you don't vote Republican, you don't have a mind. Again, I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but it's what people say. And I would argue that young people nowadays are probably more informed than ever. I would think they're probably more informed than they've ever been. And this is why this little woke socialist communist chick saying the things that she says are bad enough. And then there's a second clip. I want to give a huge shout out to Caleb Hammer, who does excellent work, has very interesting content helping people fix their financial problems. Watch this guy absolutely turn into delusional, ultra-privileged socialist, kind of like Hassan Piker, right? Hassan Piker has never been poor in his whole life. And why would he understand anything about reality? Speaking of which, by the way, all 4 fall flavors. Speaking of which, socialist? I don't know. My coffee company, Coffee Brand Coffee, which is not some drop ship trash. We have our actual own employees. Every one of our blends are only available here from us. We ship our own stuff. We had everything, we're involved from soup to nuts. We released our fall lineup. Promo code FALLSAVE to save money. Spiked jack-o'-lantern, ridiculous. Apple strudel, peach cinnamon, and maple cream. All of these flavors are delicious. Black, available whole bean and ground. But if you add a little bit of maple syrup or natural sweetener and a little bit of unflavored creamer, the flavor really comes out of them. And they're absolutely delicious. And I'll leave a link in the description below. Let's get into a little bit of just hilarity.
Yeah, reality sucks. Capitalism is bad.
He's gets triggered, which is great.
I don't like it.
Yeah, really easy for someone to say that grew up in a really nice house in one of the best school districts in Texas.
I know, but it's...
Who has the rent paid for, that is able to go to Europe and on a whim with their sister, who's able to do girl math, who's able to be fun employed. Yeah, it's easy to say that the system's bad when you're doing that because you've never had to work for it. You never got to actually see what happens when you put in the work and get benefits and actually have a little bit of responsibility and actually build something or do anything. You've grew up in privilege beyond privilege beyond privilege beyond privilege. It's only the people who speak like you that grew up in a world where you've never had to do a single thing in your life. I want to hear.
Now, again, I don't want to politicize this guy. I don't know what his personal politics are. He seems to have found a niche where he just helps people who make very, very bad financial decisions, which is something that regardless of your politics, I think a lot of young people do. I myself, oh, hey, free t-shirt. All I have to give you is this stupid social security card number. Apply for a credit card, get a free t-shirt. Cool, I'll do that. What? I can't buy a house? Why is my credit score 515? I won't pay off my credit. That literally happened to me. I was very, very bad with my money early on. I didn't understand anything about credit scores, and why that stuff mattered. So I generally give people the pass when you're being young. Nowadays, you don't really have the excuse. But if it weren't for my wife, I probably never would have fixed my credit. We went to buy a house and she had a 700 credit score and I had a 500, and we had to do something called a stated income, which means I wasn't even on the loan because my credit was so bad, just my income was. and it was embarrassing for me as a man. It was embarrassing for me as a human, and she helped me by taking over my bills and fixed my credit. It wasn't that I didn't have the money. It was that I was like not paying attention. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't paying stuff on time. So that was the real issue, is that I wasn't paying attention. I was being a stupid goofball.
About that. What a joke.
I'm sorry. I just wish everybody had but yeah, like you were saying, that
I wish a lot of things. Wishing doesn't get people places. You try to create the best systems possible. This doesn't matter. Oh my.
If it's the best system possible, then why are there people
I'm not saying this is shut the f up. I'm not saying this is the best system possible. I'm saying we don't do the I wish this is how it all is. Yeah. You try to create the best systems possible to give people the opportunities to live the best lives. I'm not saying everything's perfect. I'm not saying this is the best system possible. I don't know. Everything's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
But for you to say that is disgusting.
Yeah, I know. I'm a real hypocrite for that. But the people who you should be going after are the people.
I'm a real hypocrite, but
people in the top something percent that hoard all the world's wealth. Go after those.
What does it have to do with this chick's inability to pay her bills? Rich girl who lives of extreme privilege off capitalism denounces said capitalism just because. I mean, this is exactly like Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker grew up rich. His dad was dang near a billionaire or something like that. Got a Nepo baby job at the Young Turks, and now sits on Twitch while making $200,000-$300,000 a month. By the way, good for him. Capitalism is good. But then he sits there and he drives a Porsche. He lives in an LA mansion, multi-million-dollar mansion. And he tells people capitalism is bad and that socialism is the real way. And he says, tax the rich. But he just pays what he's supposed to pay. Well, you could pay more into the IRS. You can go to the IRS website and say, I want to donate more money in taxes.
Those people need to be taxed. And that money
taxed to the max.
Yeah.
What does that even look like to you? You probably don't even know what that looks like. What does that look like? How do you tax them to the max?
I'm not sure. I have somebody else.
Oh, interesting.
This guy.
This person's voting.
Yes, I am. And I already know who I'm voting for.
And you literally can't describe a tax.
She's voting for Kamala Harris. I mean, obviously, right? I know who I'm voting for. She's voting for Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? That's just the truth of it. She's voting for Kamala Harris. And then you have this individual. Again, Caleb Hammer, I believe is his name. I want to give him all the credit in the world. I'm just trying to, give you guys some different content. Yes, he's Caleb Hammer on YouTube. Go subscribe to him like I do. I don't know if he has a Rumble, but he should. I mean, it seems like many of the people I don't know how he gets people on his show. I don't know how he gets people on his show so often. And let him berate them. I mean, they must be I don't get it. But then again, it's there's so many times where I'm I don't get how this happened or that happened or and I guess people just want to be famous and go on YouTube channels. Look at this one.
So I need you to stop using the word mature.
Why?
This is very upsetting. I'm not immature. We just view things differently than you.
Whoa. Amazon, Chipotle, Spotify. Don't need to listen to ads, even at the discounted student rate when we are in debt and can't afford that.
What, Spotify?
Yeah, dude. What do you mean?
It's $10 a month. It's really all right.
You know what's not all right?
What?
$75,000 of student loan debt.
I understand that. It's not 75, but I understand that.
69. You're right.
Should I save the 120 a year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you...
Yes. That's how you get out of debt. When I got out of college, I was deeply in debt. I did the same thing that many college kids do. I finished my undergrad with a reasonable amount of debt. I decided I wanted to get my master's degree. So when I got my master's degree, the U.S. government said, "Oh, your tuition's $5,000. Well, we're going to give you, and I was living on my own. And the government was like, oh, do you want like $30,000 a year in college loans because you're going for your master's degree? I'm like, yeah. And then I racked up $50,000 in college debt in 2 years, and it took me 15 years to dig out of that pile. And that's how I did it. No, I didn't need the $10 a month here. No, I didn't need to eat at McDonald's. And you know what I also did? I got an extra job. I was working in computer repair and website design, and on the weekends, I worked at a pizza place. So, like, if I wanted extra money to spend, I worked at the pizza joint, Big Mouth Pizza, it was called. No wonder it was on America's Top, like, Most Wanted or something like that. I guess he owned the franchise, sold the franchise, even though he didn't own it. Anyway, none of my business. I worked extra jobs. My wife worked extra jobs so that we would have a little bit of money to maybe go out to eat once a week. But yeah, that's how you do it.
Scrape together 120 a year here, 120 a year
I
here,
understand
120 a year here. It's the small things that usually,
I understand that.
yeah, it's typically the small things that hurt Americans' finances
Sure.
the most on a month-to-month basis. So
Sure,
this is
but
one example.
I want to like enjoy my life, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's really not that bad.
Aren't you delaying more than anything though? The true enjoyment of life. True enjoyment of life is not stressing about extra finances. True enjoyment of life is actually being able to thrive and do the things you want to do.
No, hang on. So I need you to stop using the word mature.
Why?
This is very upsetting. I'm not immature. We just view things differently than you.
Well, there's immature financial behavior. That does not mean you as a whole person is
Right,
immature.
but I don't disagree with you about taking control of things. I just disagree about like how the Spotify charge fits into that. It's just not.
So you don't agree with the death by 1,000 cuts?
The 1,000 cuts are not Spotify. So Spotify is something that I have in my budget.
I'm totally broke, but I absolutely have to pay $10 a month for Spotify. By the way, I think you could listen to it for free with ads. I don't know that. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you can listen to it for free with ads.
Budget that gives me a lot of room.
Then your budget's incorrect.
No, but I spend outside of the budget sometimes. That's the problem, is the spending out of the budget.
Your entire future. That's not me.
I mean, shout out to Caleb Hammer. If you want to laugh, check out his channel. I just, not every young person's like this. I know that. And that is keeping me sane. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.